everyone. My name is Stephanie Spilka, and I'm the host of the Tech Incubator at Queens College Interview Series. Today, I'm joined by Susanne Shoemaker, who is the founder of Undercare, which is a company that creates accessible undergarments for those that have difficulty getting into regular ones. Could you give me some background information on yourself before you got into clothing and also what ultimately led you to choose it?
It was a surprise to me that I ended up in doing what I'm doing now. Um, I like to call it a happy accident. In college, undergraduate, I was an English major and I minored in fine art. And I worked in publishing. I was an editorial proofreader after college in New York City. And then I got married, had kids, moved to the suburbs, and I went back to school and I got my master's degree in painting and drawing the human figure at the New York Academy of Art, which is in Tribeca. Anyway, it was a lot of practices like right out of the Renaissance. So we dissected cadavers, we learned all the bones and muscles. And there's a point to this. So when I was swimming one day and I got out of the pool and I observed some elderly women who were struggling to get dressed. And I think because of my artistic training and because of my knowledge of like lift mechanisms in the human body, rotation of the limbs, those kinds of things, I was watching them and I thought they're having so much trouble struggling to get dressed. There should be a better way for people to put on their underwear, their clothes. And the initial design was designed by a woman for women. And I came up with the idea of wrap and fasten with soft and flexible Velcro so that you did not need to bend balance or stand on one leg. You didn't have to put your feet and legs through a leg opening the way people would traditionally put on underwear, right? So instead, what happens is the underwear actually comes completely apart, right? So you just wrap it around your waist and attach it like a belt to hold it in place, and it frees up both of your hands. And then you just pull the panel through your legs and you attach it on the right and left sides. So I don't know if you could see that, but it didn't take long to realize that the design could be applied to other items of clothing and also to men's, children's. Okay. So then, starting a business is much more than just coming up with a good idea, right? You have to become incorporated. You have to think about the whole business side. So I spent a lot of time in incubator programs, and there are a lot of resources for entrepreneurs, particularly women. So I took advantage of all of those things. Small Business Development Center, Women's Enterprise Development Center, the SBA has various programs. I was in different incubators. I was in the Goldman Sachs program. I was at the Verizon program through Queens College. And so all along with developing the product line and the creative part, which is really my wheelhouse, what I like, I also had to pay attention to the business side of it. And it's kind of been a challenge, but it's really been interesting and really exciting to watch the idea. I've been awarded 6 different patents and I've developed the business, and then I've learned about marketing and selling and corporate structure, and as well as the fun part for me, which is fabrications, design, making patterns, fitting clothing so that it fits well.
Would you be able to condense your premise of Undercare to have a specific mission statement or a mantra?
Yes, sure. We want people who struggle dressing to have more time to live their lives and do all the things that they can do than to spend time on dressing. So we want to make accessible clothing that makes it easy to dress, that encourages independence and it empowers individuals by self-dressing. That's what we want to do. And it's been great because the whole overreaching arc of diversity, equity, and inclusion includes people with disabilities. So the timing has been really great because there's been a lot of attention paid to the underserved community.
What attributes of yourself do you consider to create success within the clothing industry and even, within designing, making sure that these are actually accessible and fill the need that they're meant to?
I think one of the most important things is to pay attention to details. So if there's something that I don't understand, instead of cutting the corner and saying, oh, that doesn't matter that much, you can't do that. Like, you really have to micromanage, particularly in the designing phase, right? And you have to be willing to spend the money to do things right. So, for example, getting fit models. I didn't even know what a fit model was, but this is a great job if you can get it. All you do is try clothes on. You don't even have to be photographed. You just try them on and you give feedback. But people, the pattern maker makes sure that everything fits correctly and that it's comfortable and that you can sit down and stand up and nothing rubs. And yeah, so learning all about those kinds of things and paying attention to all those details and making sure that I do every step in the process the right way. I think that's very important. And I think another big part of this is that you have to be able to live with risk. And it's not for everybody. Some people don't like taking risks, but I seem to be able to do it. So I think maybe those two things, risk taking and paying attention to detail.
Those are definitely some great pieces of advice. Now, on the flip side,
Okay.
would you say that perhaps you've had a major failure, and what did you learn from it that helped you later on in continuing your successes?
I have not had any huge failures. I think I've dodged a few bullets. I think learning to delegate, and at the same time that I'm saying you need to micromanage everything, I'm also saying that you need to learn to delegate. So building a team is really important, and being able to pick people who have a different skill set, being able to identify what you need and hire the right people. I think was not something that right away. You learn that from experience. I think that would be the main thing, like just managing the team, building a team and managing the team. I think that has been maybe the most challenging part for me, because it's sort of like your baby. Like, you kind of want to do everything, and it's hard sometimes to let other people do it. Plus, it takes time to explain how everything's done, but you can't do it all yourself. You need other people and you need help. So, and if you want to scale your business and grow, the more reason that you need to have a team in place. And one of the things they say is that, you want to pick people who are different from you. And I think it's kind of counterintuitive, because I think a lot of people, you think, oh, I want to pick people who I get along with. I want to get people who are like me. But when you're building a team, that really isn't necessarily the way to approach it. It's good to find people with different abilities and a different skill set.
It's very good to have other types of people to complement or supplement what you're doing and adding a new perspective to what's going on. Would you be able to imagine yourself either doing something else besides running this business, or as simple as just expanding the product collection to include more garments? Really anything. I like to keep this in more of an open question.
I could see myself doing other things. I have lots of other interests, particularly art related, and I do volunteer work teaching art, but business is mainly what I do. And we have branched out. Like, now we're finding out that there was a market for adaptive swimwear. So we've designed adaptive swimsuits for men and women that you don't have to put on over your feet and legs. Same concept. And we're also developing products for children, because I had a lot of parents write in and say, I wish you had children's sizes. My child would really benefit from this. So we're working on that. And there are just lots of different applications of the product. And so we're kind of building it one product at a time. So far we have the boxers, the briefs for men, the briefs for women, the men's swim, the women's swim, children's sizing is in development, and then we're talking about several other ideas as well. And then there's also stuff you can do with fabrications, like athletic shorts, performance wear. And so, yeah, there's a lot we feel like there's a lot of new things that we can do with our product line.
I'm looking forward to seeing when those come out, and everybody else also keep your eyes out. Well, the reason you're here today is because you are connected with us here at the Tech Incubator at Queens College. Could you talk about how do we help out your business?
First, I was in the Verizon Incubator program, and my special interest right now at this point in the company's development is marketing. And since I'm in an industry, adaptive clothing, which is relatively new, a lot of people don't know about it. So when you talk about marketing and you talk about keywords and Google searches, people really don't know to type in adaptive clothing. So it's challenging, and it's what they call white space. And so Queen's Incubator has been very helpful. I have a team that's helping me with my social media and, as one way to start marketing the product. And so, yes, they've been very helpful.
I'm glad to hear it. We
Yeah.
always helping out our clients. My final question for today is there any advice that you would give, let's say your younger self, that could serve as advice for those starting out as entrepreneurs?
Trust yourself and it'll all work out, and try new things. No guts, no glory, right? Even if things don't work out exactly as you planned or they take longer, it's a good thing to try something new and believe that you can figure things out and make things work. So I think I would just say hang in there and keep trying and don't give up, don't quit.
Yeah, that's great advice. Even if you might think it's a little bit cliche or something, it's always good to just say it and realize how true it actually is. At least, that's what I think. Thank you so much, Susanne, for coming today. It was really a pleasure speaking with you and learning more about Undercare. And like I said before, I think it's wonderful that you have filled this niche that is really necessary, but not necessarily thought of by others. It's just so useful. It's something that we might not necessarily need, but there's always people out there that do need it.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't affect us, we can see how it helps others.
Yes. And it leads into the idea of universal design, which is the idea of making an adaptive product can lead to developing a product that could be used by everybody, that's easier for everybody, so that it's not just segmented out like, oh, this is for disabled, right? I mean, you come up with a design that everybody would like. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everything that the Incubator Queens College has been very helpful.